Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mr. Higgs podcast. We are here getting it in once again, time and time again. So today, college football day, and you've got Nick Saban is going to be playing, and Alabama are going to be playing Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, and that is, of course, the matchup of a legend of a head coach, and then you're one of his great offensive assistants, who was an offensive coordinator for a national championship run at Alabama. This is not an uncommon thing for Nick Saban because so many of the coaches that he has had on his staff have become head coaches either in college football or in the NFL. So I wanted to run through real quick just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So some of the coaches that have become head coaches, you've got Derek Dooley, Mark Antonio, Jeremy Pruitt, Will Muschamp, Jim McElwain, Butch Jones, and Major Applewhite. Those were all coaches that were on his staff that have become head coaches. But oddly enough, not only is that not the list, that's not even the current list. The amount of current coaches that were on Nick Saban's staff is astounding. So you got Billy Napier at Florida, Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, Steve Sarkisian at Texas, Mel Tucker at Maryland. No, Mel Tucker at Michigan State, Mike Locksley at Maryland, Kirby Smart at Georgia, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, Mario Cristobal at Miami, Michael Huff at Marshall, and Dan Lanning at Oregon. All those coaches were on Alabama's staff at one time, and they're now current head coaches in college football. By the way, in the NFL, you've got Brian Daboll, Adam Gase, Pat Shermer, Mike Mularkey, Dan Quinn, and Jason Garrett. We're also all on his staff. So not only has he had a great impact on college football, like winning and losing, winning championships, but the amount of coaches that he has produced, great leaders produce great leaders. I've always said that. So the amazing job he's done at doing that is astounding. However, the thing that I'm seeing now is that I don't think Nick Saban has elite coaches on his staff anymore. I think situationally they're not very good. I don't think the player development is what it used to be, and I don't think the execution is what I have seen out of Alabama teams in the past few years. The amount of penalties that I've seen out of Alabama teams is really just not buttoned up, just not what you've come to expect of Alabama football. Last week against South Alabama, they gave up 5 sacks to South Alabama. Like you just need to say it again sometimes to be like, how is that even a thing? Like it was 3-3 at like halftime. I think this would have been one of the worst losses in Nick Saban's tenure had they lost this game. And the fact that they went into the season. The Tommy Rees is their offensive coordinator. Nobody was particularly impressed by that. Kevin Steele, the defense is playing great this year. However, nobody was really excited about the hire of Kevin Steele. Let's just be real about that. And now I just don't have confidence that in situations, even though their recruiting has been amazing. So recruiting in the last 3 years, they're either number 1 or number 2 in recruiting. The blue chip ratio says over 90% of their players are 4 or 5 star players, and yet we're seeing mistakes. We're seeing uncharacteristically sloppy play and poor play even at certain positions out of Alabama. I love Nick Saban. I love what he's done. I have the most amount of respect for Nick Saban and what he's done probably than any college football coach. I think any coach actually ever, because of the impact that he's had in the NFL and in college. But I think the dynasty's over, and I don't think the dynasty's over because they can't recruit. I think the dynasty's over because they can't execute, and because you've got LSU and A&M and Georgia, and you've got real contenders that are gonna go hard. And now that talent among coaching and players is now more spread out. So they don't hit on all their recruits either. So those guys that don't hit, they're going out and they're going to other places, and they're being successful in other places other than Alabama. So hopefully we've got a great game today. Hope Alabama gets it back on track, but if not, honestly, I'm not too surprised. That's my time. Take it easy.